Hello, everybody. So we are going to go through the email invitation feature that was introduced with Nfield Online Manager. We are going to go through with a specific sequential flow, which I'm going to show you in next slide. This will be the flow, which will help us in understanding the invitation setup to be done in the Nfield Online Manager. The first point is to go through the objective. We will have a little bit overview about it. And then there is introduction where I had a little bit tried to explain the email invitation. Then there would be a workflow, which would more of a process, which will explain how to create email invitation practically using Nfield Online Manager. Then we will talk about best practices in the form of a checklist. This checklist would be more of a necessary list which would be help us in designing or creating email invitation which is good and perfect in terms of sending or making it spam proof. Let's go to the objectives. So through this presentation, we are actually going to help us mainly making us comfortable with email invitation feature. The goal is to go through the functionalities of this feature and get acquainted with know-how and best practices around it. And then we should be able to understand do's and don'ts of using this feature along with few more critical information associated with the email sending process. Let's go to next slide. In the introduction section, I have explained the email invite a little bit. So basically, email invite is a type of personal invitations used to connect with known respondents, asking them to take part in any of the specific surveys. The email invitation is possible only with the online surveys because we send survey link through email and respondents access the survey online as long as they are connected through internet. Here, in case of using email invitation, it's necessary that we have respondents and their profile information in advance with us. They are actually uploaded as a part of sample data and we make them available in survey for email invitation. The email invitation is a feature which actually works with type of survey, or basically we would more clearly say it as a survey link. There are two types of links which Nfield Online deals with. One is the open, which is also known as a generic link. The other one is a closed or the unique link. Now, what is the open link and what is the closed link? The basic difference between these two types is that the open or generic link doesn't have any targeted or known respondent, whereas the closed link does. Open link is basically open to anybody or everybody. I have showed here an example open link, which you can see the basic difference. It is just a server link, nothing added in terms of URL parameters. The best example of open link could be any survey which is embedded on the social media site, for example, on the Facebook or on the other Twitter or anything else. The drawback of open link is we don't have control over who is taking the survey and how many times. So it's possible that one respondent can take the survey multiple times. So this is the example of open link. The closed type link is nowhere different than the open link. It just has the unique respondent ID associated with it. So if we see this example survey link, here the respondent key has been associated with the survey link, which means this survey link is designated for just one respondent, and that respondent is known in advance to us, and we have uploaded their profile data or the sample data on the Nfield server. So email invitation is also possible when we know the respondents in advance and we know their unique IDs along with their profile information. That's where email invitation works only with closed survey links or with the respondents to whom we know in advance, and we specifically invite them to participate in survey. That is where email invitation only works with closed type link, not with the open link. Let's go to next slide and try to understand the process or the steps involved in creation of email invitation. The process flow here defines the steps basically to set up invitations in Nfield Online. The flow starts from left and moves sequentially from left to right in the upper section, and it goes from right to left towards the end in the lower section. So there are approximately 8 steps needed, right from survey creation to invitation status monitoring. The very first step here is to create a survey, which is basically not an integral part of invitation creation process, but since we are talking about adding invitation into a survey which may or may not be created in Nfield Online, so we have included right from first step. So we will create a survey in Nfield Online Manager. Then you will upload your script file and then configure survey for known people, and then you will decide that do you want to change any invitation settings at the survey level. If you want to change, you will make changes and then go for uploading samples. This is the place where we will actually upload the known respondent data for sending them the invitation. If you don't have any invitation setting changes, then also you will go to the same step and upload the sample. After it, there is step for creating invitation, where practically email invitation would be set up along with email body. And then we will go ahead with selecting and sending the invitation for respective respondents. After here, we will monitor the email status or the email invitation status, how many respondents access the email which we sent as an invitation, how many have opened it, how many of those emails have actually been delivered to inbox, how many have not been sent, etc. And based on monitor, there would be decision taken whether do you need to send reminders to few of them. If you want to send reminders, then again you will go and set up the invitation and send it, and then again the process starts, and if there is no reminder to be sent, the process will end. Well, I will now begin live demo and map each of these steps against it. This will help us in understanding the practicalities and the steps involved. So allow me to go to the Nfield Online Manager. This is the Nfield Online Manager which we are going to use it for our understanding of email invitation process. As per the first step, we are going to create the survey. Let's create the test email invite. This will create a survey for us in Online Manager. And our next step is to upload a Q file. This is going to be a script file which any survey needs it. And here we'll have to upload a script. I have a small script ready to use and we will use it for time saving purpose. The moment it is uploaded, we need to save the changes. We are done with the second step. Now the third step is to configure the survey for known people. So any survey by default is type of open survey and it follows the open survey link. If we at all want to make it closed survey link type, then we have to configure it. And configuration, we need to go at the bottom. Here we can see the miscellaneous tab. Clicking on it will show us another option here, manage respondents. We just need to click on it and switch it on, allow only known respondents. When we switch this option on, we actually switch on the survey close type link where only known respondents would be allowed to take the survey. Now we have saved all the changes. Let's go back to the next step. So there is a decision to be made where do we want to change anything in the invitation settings. Invitation settings usually are done at the domain level. We do not so frequently change these settings at the server level. And the reason behind it is we provide few critical parameters at this phase or at this step, which is actually helping us in deciding the no spam score for our emails. So consider about the situation that you send email invitations to your respondents and those emails get dropped into the spam folder rather than the respondent's inbox. So in such case, your study's incidence rate could be greatly impacted just because of not having the good email invitation content and the trusted parameters. So that's why the parameters provided here actually helps us in deciding the good no spam score for any of the email invitations being set up in the service. Just to let you know in brief that for email sending services, we are using actually the Elastic email services, those who have a trusted name in the market and they are quite efficient in providing their services. Elastic email services also require these parameters as a must one for them. Without having these parameters in your email invitation, Elastic email services won't be able to shoot up the mail to the respective respondents. As parameters suggest here, from email address, This is the email address from which the email would be sent out to the respondents, and respondents would be able to see this email address as a sender of the email invitation. Since this is going to be sender of email invitation, it is very, very critical to have a very trusted domain name and the email ID over here. If at all respondent blacklist or the domain name gets blacklisted for sending spam email invitations, then the whole domain name would be blocked. So that's why it is very necessary for us to have a trusted and professional domain name. The from name is basically a name which should be shown in email invitation as from which company or from where the invitation is coming from. Reply to email address is a parameter which, if you pass any email ID, would help respondent to get connected to in case of any complaints or in case of any feedback and they want to communicate instantly. The company physical postal address, well, this is not required from email invitation sending point of view, but Elastic Email needs these parameters, and that is where actually a good no spam score helps us in achieving our objective. And these are the parameters that increases the trustworthiness of the emails that are being sent out to the respondents. So this is the email invitation settings. If we at all want to make any changes, there might be possibilities where you may ask by your clients to make changes. For example, they want their own email IDs to be appeared and to be sent from. They want their own company name to be included here while sending email invitations. They can ask for their own postal address to be added. As long as we do not get requests from clients, we should not frequently try to make changes here as available. So basically in our case, we are not going to do any changes at the invitation settings step. So we will follow the no path and we will go ahead with the upload sample. The upload sample is actually a respondent profile information or the respondent's data that we are going to use in our email invitation process. For that, we can see the left-hand side in pane, we have the setup survey under which you can see all the options. Here we can get the invitation settings, invitations, all other options available. At the same place, we see the option manage respondent. This is the place where actually we will upload our sample data. So this is the place where we are going to upload our sample. I have one ready to use sample file which can be added on. I will just upload it. Let's have a little closer look on this sample file and try to understand what and how to apply the information. The sample file is very critical in terms of sending the email invitations because anything incorrect entry may halt the invitation and may even cause the error in the process. Sample file can be basically anything. It's not necessary to be Excel file. It can be text file. It can be CSV file. I consider most of the time CSV file because it is lightweight and free from any version constriction. So in this file, we can see we have 4 fields. The first field mentions about the ref key. The next one is name, the other is email, and the last column is ref type. The field names here can be anything. It's not necessarily it has to be REST key. It could be REST ID, it could be ID key, whatever you want, you can make it. The online manager or the Nfield system doesn't catch it with the field name, but it considers the first column always as a respondent key. This field has to be alphanumeric data type, and we can have the combination of letters and numbers here, but we need to ensure that we always have a respondent key in the first column, because that is how the online manager has been configured to understand the sample file or the sample data. The names field, we can change the names. In place of that, we can keep name or anything else. This is the sample field which would be appearing in the online manager as it is. Similarly, the email and the REST type. Out of all these fields, two fields are very much important from email invitation point of view. First is respondent key, which is going to denote each respondent uniquely with the unique ID. And the email is very much important because this is the email which would be used to send the email invitation. And rest two fields are not compulsory. They are the names and REST type. Names are the simple names of the respondents. The REST type I have used to show how we can use the sample fields in our email invitation as well. These variables are also called as the sample variables, which can be imported into the questionnaire using the Odin script. We can pick up these variables and store them in dummy questions in a script and add them to the respondent data. There are few checks that we need to follow before supplying the sample data to the online manager, and those checks are that they thoroughly have to be checked, and as a general rule, any blank should be avoided. So if names or email or respondent key is blank, if any of this field is blank, this will result in errors. It may halt the invitation as well. So respondent key and email are most important fields, as I mentioned earlier. We need to check and ensure that everybody is identifiable and that every record, every person in our sample file has a valid email address. So that's why it makes sense to create a test sample file to test the invites before beginning any work with real sample and invites. Send out some test invites to yourself or colleagues, use the link and create some test completes and dropouts. Once you are certain that everything is working properly, you can upload your real sample file in Nfield Manage. Okay, that was all about the sample file. I have checked myself the sample file. Let's upload it. Okay, it has uploaded the sample data here. The table which is visible here is called a respondent data table, and this explains the various status about the respondent. This is quite dynamic. You can resize the columns, you can hide them, and you can unhide them, and you can see them, all the results, all the status. Here you can see I have uploaded few of the custom sample fields for REST type. It says holiday and hotel. Basically, this respondent is generated by the holiday type, whereas we are only interested in understanding the holiday experience of him or her. Here we want to know the hotel experience from the other respondent, and we will see how we can use them in our invitations. So We have now uploaded the sample data where we have told to Nfield Online Manager that these are the respondents to whom we will send the invitation. Our next step is to create the invitation. This is the phase or step where we will actually create the invitation. Let's go to the Online Manager. For creating invitations, we again need to go to under Setup Survey and see for the option Invitations. Here is the option. Clicking on it will open the invitation tab. Here we can see this button, Add Invitation. Clicking on it will give us two options, blank and default. Blank is something which, if we at all want to start the invitation from scratch, we can use this. This will provide a raw email invitation editor, and we can create our own style, we can create our own HTML format, we can edit and manipulate everything from scratch. Default provides us a specific type of templates which we can make use of sending the invitations and making them stylish under particular limitation. So I will select a blank one. Let's go through the blank one and understand what we can basically do. All those things with invitation. Every invitation needs a name. This name will be internal for the Nfield to understand and keep track of each of the invitations that are created. Let's say invite EX1. Subject is the subject line, which will become the email's subject section, subject part, which will be visible to the respondent as it is. Now, since this is going to be a subject line, it is important that we have a catchy subject line which can make respondent to open the email as soon as it arrives or it is arrived into the inbox. So, for that matter, I have one example email invitation created already. Let's say experience, or just say take part in survey. I have a toughest language of the world, that is Hebrew, just to ensure that it supports the other language. So this is the subject part. This is the body or the email invitation editor where we can type our email invitation contents and we can make them stylish using all these options. We can make them bold, we can make them italic, underline. There are different font families where we can change the font types, we can change the font size, and in fact we can change the color as well if at all we want. And then there are the alignments, left, right, center alignments, and then we can make the ordered list. We can in fact indent them, we can insert the image, we can insert other links, and in fact we can insert the tables as well. For the email invitations, there are few best practices points that are very much necessary to be included in the content part or in the body part. First of all, there is an opening which should be with either Dear Sir or Hello John. Well, we have to consider this quite carefully because this is the first step where we connect with our respondent. So we can be formal, we can be casual, but we have to look quite professional in any round. So in our case, I have given Dear insert name. Let me copy this full and paste it here. we will change it as required. So first I have used here, I want to use the name of the respondent which I have uploaded as a part of sample data. So all the sample fields I have uploaded are available here. You can see this icon, clicking on it will give me all the sample field names which I have uploaded. I want the name I have inserted. That's it. This would be replaced with the value of the sample field under the name. I want to also change the content of the email invitation with the sample field. For example, you can see this says your holiday. I want to make it holiday for the holiday type respondent, and I want to make it hotel for respondents whom I am interviewing for hotel experience. So for this, I will again go to the place. I will just select the rest type, which denotes the respondent type. So this will help me in setting up one email invitation for different respondents with varying text in the email invitation body. And then there is a Hebrew language, which is a translation of the above English text. And then there is a personal survey link. This is a survey link or the link which respondent will click on and take the survey. For inserting this link, we need to click on this icon and just go to this icon and click on it. It will help me inserting a link. Clicking on this link will allow me to edit the link. Now, if I want to edit, I will put it here, my survey link, which would be Nfield interview .com, and then my respondent key equal to 1, etc. And then I can edit the label which will be appearing here. I can say click here to start survey, and then I will update it. The opening the new tab option will allow opening the survey link in new tab at the respondent's machine. Okay. And then I'm done with the creation of survey link. And then here there is if you are unhappy with us contacting you, please click on this link to unsubscribe. So this is the unsubscribe link, which is a must one for all of the email invitation, because this helps us in getting a good no spam score for all of our emails going out of the Elastic email server. These are the few parameters that are actually must for all of the email invitations. Without it, we won't be able to send even the email invitation. So let me insert the unsubscribe link. The unsubscribe link is something which is built one and can be inserted using the option, the red icon which you can see here, insert an unsubscribe link. Just click on it. It will insert the link for you. You can edit the label. You can in fact edit the URL at all you want to. Let's have the label as unsubscribe, update it, done. If you want to talk to us in person, you're always welcome to visit us at our office. So the company postal address, which will be taken from the invitation setting page, and this is also one of the must needed parameters from good no spam score point of view. We can again click on the same link and we can insert the company postal address at the same place. So this is the place where company postal address would be inserted, and the value would be replaced dynamically using the email invitation settings page. If at all you want to include the particular company's privacy policy, you can do that. What all you have to do, you just have to click on the same icon here You can see the insert link. Clicking on it will allow you to enter your URL, for example, yahoo.com. For me, the text is privacy policy, and it should open in new tab. Insert. That's all. It will do the job for me. Okay. If at all you want to insert the image as a company logo, you can do that. Probably you can click on this image icon here. If you want to upload it, you just click on the upload image and it will help you uploading the image. Okay. Okay. So this is the image. I hope it should get uploaded. It has to be JPEG image basically. Okay, something went wrong. Please try again. Well, this happens whenever you face this type of issue. I would suggest to save the changes here and refresh your system again, refresh the website again, and it will help us. Let me try it for you because I have saved it. I will refresh it and it should allow me to upload the image. For that, I will have to again go to the invitations option. I have to select the invitation which I was creating. I will just say edit it, and I will again put the control over there where I want to insert image, and I will say upload image. Okay, so here, let me say open. Okay, it's loading the image now. Okay, done. You can make various changes if you want at all. You can delete it or you want to align it. Just click on it. It says align left. Click on it and it will align your image at the left. This is on left now. You can resize it based on your requirement. So this could be a company link, company logo. You can convert it into link as well if at all you want. And the one more important point I would like to make you aware is the whole email body here can be seen in the HTML format as well. And for that, in the top left corner, you can see the button code view. Clicking on it would present you the HTML tags and the HTML format of the whole document. Which at all, if you want to make changes here, you can and save it. Or if you have the HTML format email invitation, you can copy and paste it here and can turn the button back again to the normal document look. Now, here you can see the two options, invitation and the reminder. The reminder is selected when you have already sent an invitation and respondents are not responding back to the server link. Then you will select here reminder and you will just say save. In our case, we are sending invitation, so we will just say save the changes. Now we have saved the changes and our email invitation is ready to be sent. Let's go back to our steps which we were actually trying to map against. The next step after creating invitation is to select and send the invitation. Now this is the actual phase where the invitation would be sent. But before sending any email invitation, we need to ensure that we have checked each and everything, our HTML invite, and we have ensured that it has received a solid no spam score. Probably it's also a good idea to test the invite before sending. And for testing that, we can probably create list of colleagues' email IDs or the CS IDs or the panel providers IDs, and we can send them the email and can understand in a limited environment how the email invitations are being treated on. Are they being delivered in the spam folder, or are they being delivered in the inbox of the recipient? There are a few good sites that will help you in assessing your email, and they also provide you a spam score based on which you can decide that the email invitation content is up to the mark to be sent to the larger group or the larger population of the respondents, or you may need any changes to it. For example, I can help you in accessing that with one example. For that, what we will have to do is we'll have to go back to our email invitation content. We'll have to copy it, and from any of the email ID, we will have to actually send it to the site, which will help us in accessing the spam score. And the site is the www.mail-taster.com. What does it do? Basically, you will have to send your email invitation to this email ID. And after sending your email content, you just need to click on check your score. It will help you in accessing the spam consideration. So there's quite possible scenario where if you are having a large amount of emails with you, they may charge little bit for providing that service. Okay. Let's go to email and let me compose the one email along with the email invitation content that we have created. Okay, so I have to actually compose the email, and it doesn't seem to be working. I have to probably refresh it and try it once more. Okay, there it is. So I have already copied my email content, and I need to now copy it, the subject part, which I haven't yet. This is my subject part. Let me copy it there, and in the two I have to put up this email ID, because I have to send my email invitation to this part. Ensure that the leading spaces are removed. Okay. And I just need to send this email. I just have to say send. And I expect it to be delivered successfully. No bounce back. And then we'll have to wait a little bit for this email to be delivered in this recipient email ID. So before sending and selecting the invitation, it's quite necessary steps to follow in terms of ensuring that the email invitation contents are good to go and the no spam score is sufficient enough to be released. No bounce back email, so I expect it to be delivered by now. Let me go there and say check your scope. It may take a little bit time in accessing first that the email has been delivered or not, and then it will assess the contents of the email and decide the score. Okay, so it hasn't yet found the email which we have delivered from my email ID. By the time it is trying to access the email, let's go back to our normal sending invitation process. Okay, so we have saved our invitation and we have added it. Now for sending the invitation, we again have to go back to the manage respondent section. There we have to now select the respondents by applying this filter to whom we want to send the email invitation. Now for this, we can apply a filter on various sample fields that are available. These all fields we can see here, and we can apply a filter on various fields. For example, the result which says not used. We can in fact use the last invitation status which says no invitation scheduled, or we can use any other field which helps us in identifying the designated respondent. I am going to use the result field, where which will I say is not used, and I will say apply. The moment I say apply, I see one drop down visible here. Clicking on it will help me deciding what action I want to take. That I want to reset those respondents, delete respondent, block the respondent, or invite. Well, I want to invite them. The moment I will select the invite to respondents, I will see two buttons where I can cancel it or I can say invite. Okay, let's check it out. Yet the email has not been delivered, so that's why it's trying to access it. I hope it has been delivered successfully. Yeah. Okay. So basically it is taking time in accessing the email. Okay. Let's go back to our online manager. The moment when we will click on invite, it will open a pop-up window where it will ask for few information. Batch name is the first one. What is the batch name? This is email sent out to the particular respondents to whom we are sending the invitation. This is quite helpful from keeping track perspective. So for example, I'm going to send, in my case, 2 respondents first invitations. Say after today or after a certain period of time, I'm again going to send invitation to few more respondents. But by then, I want to know what is happening with those 2 respondents to whom I had sent the invitation today or before than that. Then this batch name will help me in trying to locate those respondents included in that group. So let me say invite B1. Here I will have to select the invitation which I have created just now. I can see the preview also here. This is the preview, and clicking on escape button will again take me back there. The recipient email is nothing but a respondent email which we have uploaded as a part of sample data. You can schedule the invitation sending process based on date and time. I am sending it now. You can see 2 checkboxes here. These are 2 validation process which actually makes you aware that have you verified all the email addresses that you're going to send invitation, and if you have used any invitation template, have you tested them against this spam? If you have done that, you need to click. The moment you will click on both the checkboxes, the send button will open. Now, my invitation content is good to go. I have checked it. Okay, let me check it out if I have. Good. So you can see here I have got the 6 score out of 10, which says some inboxes might still refuse you. The moment you see some inboxes might still refuse you, you have to understand what is that causing it. But still the 6 is a good score to go out. Now here there is a detailed analysis provided by the website on your email content. You can see based on the marks here, we can pass it on or we can check the improvement required. So spam assessing things you can improve, and then there is the body of your message contains errors. Okay, let's see what is the error contained in the email body. Weight of HTML version of your message is 5 KB. My email size is 5 KB. 15% of the email body is text. We found one image without alt attribute in your message body. So alt attribute provide a textual alternative to your image. Okay, so in HTML format, if we'll see the content of the image, it doesn't contain the alt attribute, which provides the alternative if my image is not able to download it because of anything. Since I haven't provided any alt attribute here, and this is the HTML tag, the whole HTML tag has been actually presented by the website. If I add the alt here, I would be good to go in terms of adding image here. So this is giving me a one very strong improvement, which I should do it. And then there is a one broken link. You are listed in one blacklist. So if any of the website, if your email ID has been listed as a blacklist, you will have to check it about it. There is a one broken link. So there is a link which seems to be broken here, and we'll have to check it about it. But as of now, since I have a 6 score, I am good to go. Let me send it now. Okay. So my invitation has been sent. You can see the invitation for survey have been sent. The moment invitations have been delivered successfully, the last invitation status will keep changing. You can see now it is in the pending status, which means it is on the way to the respondent's inbox. It is still in the pending status. I would expect these invitations to come in my Yahoo email ID, because I have just now given these as a respondent email ID. Okay, you can see it says the error not delivered. So my email invitation has not been delivered successfully because of some error, and quite possible it is because of the my body message email body contains the image which is not having the alt attribute. Okay, the other one is pending. Okay, let me go instantly to the invitation and let me remove the image. Okay, now just save it. I will again go to manage respondent, and there is a one still pending. Okay, let me again apply the result as, or this time I will say last invitation status. Last invitation status is error not delivered, and let me apply it. I want to send this respondent the email invitation. Now this time I will have another batch name, this time same, review. The only thing is I have removed the image, go back, email, okay, come down, select these two and say send. This pop-up says that email sending is in the process now. Okay, the status is invitation not sent. So there is some reason because of which it says invitation not sent. But when it is delivered in the particular respondent's email ID, it more of looks like little bit, okay, little bit like this. This is something which I had done it previously, and here the same content has been delivered. Here this text what we had replaced with the sample field has been taken the value holiday because I had sent it for the holiday type respondent. Once I will send it for the hotel one, it will be replaced by the hotel. And in the next process, we have the monitoring it. The monitoring is done again based on the left side pane. You can see here you have the monitor fieldwork. Once you will go to monitor fieldwork, you can see the invitation batches. Since we have created two batches, I can see 2, 1, 2. The first one contains all the different status that we have captured here. You can see one is still in the pending status. It has not been yet sent. There are various status like schedule, the emails that have been scheduled, one is pending, those who have not been sent yet, the open and click. The open and click are actually parameters that counts the number of respondents, those who have opened the email or clicked on it. This is tracked actually based on the cookies. So if any machine has not been allowed cookies, then the counts here would not show the correct results. Similarly, there is error if any error has come. So in my case, the one respondent got into error. So you can see the respondent has not received the email because of email invitation content problem. Now, if it has been sent successfully, it will do it. The unsubscribe, if you click on the link unsubscribe, the count will start appearing here. Similarly, in the second batch, if we see, we have one email which is not sent. So this is how we actually keep track of the email invitation status for each of the respondents. The other important point which I would like to explain is the blacklist. Okay, that's where I got it. That's where the email invitation are not being sent. So blacklist is the stage where if at all I have clicked on the link unsubscribe. So in my email ID, if I have clicked on unsubscribe link, I would be personally blacklisted in the domain. And if I have been blacklisted, I would be appearing here in the blacklisted email addresses list. Now the domain administrator of this particular domain can remove it from the list and make it again available. Now, as of now, I am not able to remove it from the list, and that's why I am not able to send the email invitation to this email ID. Because if you see, I have used the same email ID for our email invitation. So I have used the same email ID which is actually blacklisted in the domain, and hence I am not able to send any email invitation to this particular email ID, and it says error or not sent. It is very much necessary to understand it that if any respondent who has clicked on the unsubscribing link, he would be blacklisted and would not be available for any of the surveys in that particular domain. That's why it is very much necessary to add the link also in our email invitation content. So as per our step, we have done the monitoring part. In monitoring, we will decide that we have to send reminder. Then we will again go back to the surveys. We will click on it, our particular survey. We'll go to invitation and we'll just say edit, and we will select reminder and save the changes. Then the sending process is always the same as we have seen it. And if at all we don't need reminder, we will end up with our process here. That's all about the practical demo of how to create email invitation process or the email invitation setup in the Nfield Online. In my next slide, I have talked about few best practices that should be followed in the form of checklist. They are nothing but making sure your HTML invite is altogether ready to use and there are no syntactical errors. Make sure we receive a good solid no spam score. As we saw, we got 6 out of 10. Test for no spam can be done using mailtester.com, where I just did that. We should avoid changing any invitation settings at survey level. So we just had a little bit brief about why it should be. And in the next point, we have the check for blacklisted candidates frequently. This is very important point that we need to keep eye on our blacklist address list. In my case, I did not check that I myself have blacklisted my email ID, which I am going to use for sending email invitation. And we saw that we were not able to deliver the email invoice. That's why it is very much required that we keep a constant check on the blacklisted candidate list frequently. The invitation monitoring status may not provide exact counts of people clicked or opened the link. As I just explained, it is cookie based, and if the cookies are not allowed in any machine, then counts will not be as accurate as it should be. We should try avoiding any too many images or JS queries or the JS jQuery scripts or moving images or HTML tags, because they increase the chance of spam marking. Maintain invitations as simple and as professional possible. They must include these 3 points: the company address, server link, and link to unsubscribe. These are 3 points that we must keep in mind while setting up the invitation, and it was all about setting up invitations in Nfield Online Manager. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.